At one point, we might think that there are only 3 types of gamers. The console gamer, the PC gamer, and then there's the hybrid gamer, the mixture of the both. But I would argue that gaming no longer is defined by those terms, but rather, at a reasonable age at least, the casual gamer, the enthusiast, and the niche gamer. And this is something I've been thinking about a little bit more given the past few conversations. Everyone say hello to the Mod Retro Chromatic, my new little joy, my bundle of joy. I've had it for a couple months, but in these past couple of weeks, I've been really going crazy with it. I've gotten games that I played when I was a kid, Link's Awakening, as well as Donkey Kong Land. Donkey Kong Land was the first game I ever got as a gift. My parents gave me Donkey Kong Land for my, 5th or 6th birthday in a box at Red Robin. And my own Game Boy was in there. It was a refurbished Game Boy from Nintendo because my dad worked with Nintendo, whatever. And then some Ken Griffey Jr. baseball cards. So the Mod Retro has been seeing a lot of time from me. Also, new coffee alert. This is by Good Citizen Coffee out of Nashville. I'm excited to taste it. We're going to give it the new coffee treatment. So we're going to do just a good 30-gram dose with 450 grams of water. It's going to be delicious. But back to the gamer types, the casual, the enthusiast, and the niche. These are things that I think will help categorize. I don't think categorizing is rather important. I think that honestly, just understanding where you are in your gaming hobby and where other people are so that you can have a community, because the community in gaming is really what keeps it alive. Let's grind this. Now, usually I only keep it open on Twitch, and the links will be live so that you can grab it during a live stream, but I will post a link in the description box below. It'll be the second link. First link is linked to Twitch because I stream 4 days a week, 6:30 p.m. That's the new schedule, and I'm hoping to hold on to that for however long. But if you want to be a part of a Discord community filled with other people who are, I would say, going down the video game journey similar to a lot of the conversations in these cups, just trying to figure out a few moments here and there just to hold on to a hobby that they once cherished dearly. Please, a bunch of like-minded individuals, very welcoming, very kind, and we talk about everything and love everything, and we really keep it to just enjoying the moments that we want to enjoy with each other around gaming. That's really the big purpose of that Discord place, is to just enjoy each other's company. Talking about communities and all that stuff is important, but let's talk about those 3 types of gamers. I think the PC versus console conversation has been one that has a little bit of misallocated effort or classification, or however you want to put it. Honestly, the PC versus console, everything has gotten either simpler or more complicated. PC has become more simple over the years. I think the barrier of entry for PC is probably the lowest it's ever been, and it's continuing to get lower and lower as time goes on. I mean, we have hybrid consoles like the Steam Deck, a little bit more complex handhelds like the Asus ROG Ally X, as well as Legion Go, any of those. I mean, and the reason why I say more complex is because they're full Windows machines, and so they aren't as dumbed down as something like the Steam Deck may be. But those hybrid consoles are bringing people like myself, historically console gamers, over to the PC world, or vice versa, PC gamers, understanding that their time is not as abundant as it once was, and so they're having to figure out ways to play. Steam Deck has been a beautiful instrument in that, but the big thing that I think a lot of gamers are realizing is this idea of enthusiast versus casual. And then someone made a comment on my last video where I introduced the idea of enthusiast and casual. Not that these ideas are unique to this channel, but rather that focusing or understanding that the gaming space and the people that play video games are not categorized by their console, but rather categorized by their involvement in the hobby, that there is a third person that exists here, and this is the niche gamer. You may be the niche gamer, and I know that in some areas I am the niche gamer. And let me give an example. I have, over these past, I'd say few months, but more so over these past few weeks, been playing original games. Zelda, Link's Awakening, Donkey Kong Land, Pokemon Yellow. These original titles, some of which have gotten remaster treatment, some of them have gotten re-released or are included, and I didn't name them all, I played Ocarina of Time as well, have been re-released in a little bit better of a form factor on Nintendo Switch Online, or even gotten full remasters like Link's Awakening on Nintendo Switch. These games are available elsewhere, but I have chosen to play them in their original form, right? Not only original form, but with something like the mod Retro Chromatic, which allows me to play the game as close to the original as possible with a like-for-like pixel density, this exact same pixel density. The analog pocket increases the size of the screen as well as the pixel density to give you a more clearer image. This doesn't. This is exactly the same pixel count as the original Game Boy Color. The colors aren't any extra vibrant. They're just brighter because there is a really, really solid backlight, and that is it. That is it. There's no ROMs. There's no quick saves. There's nothing. No hacks. Original. That's hyper niche. Like hyper niche. And I understand that that's not for everyone too, so that's blue. And when it comes to gaming as a whole, niche gaming is something that I've realized is probably more popular than the enthusiast gamer. Now, who is the enthusiast? Great question. I think the enthusiast is someone who owns a PC rig, who owns every single console, who probably can spend at least one, if not multiple hours a day or every other day playing the games. They purchase the AAA title off launch. They're able to play it off launch. They complete it. They may be completionists. This is the enthusiast. Where the hobby, the video game hobby itself, is something that they participate in for multiple hours. Almost daily, right? I'm not going to put an actual stamp enthusiast means 20 hours. No. It's just something where time is actually dedicated to the hobby itself, right? A hobby like, painting or building model cars or playing Magic, whatever it may be, is when you allocate time towards it and you actually participate in this thing consistently, daily, think about it. It's just what you do. This is what I would consider an enthusiast. They look for those products like the PlayStation 5 Pro, kind of, maybe not. They're trying to get all the things. Maybe it's a VR headset as well. This is the enthusiast. I think that there are fewer enthusiasts that it may seem, right? The internet or YouTube pretty much just showcases the enthusiast, or at least makes it seem like they're all enthusiasts. But in reality, content creators, the job is to talk about video games all the time, and so it looks like they're playing video games all the time. I hope I do a good job at showing you that while I love playing video games, I don't get to do it all the time. I made a statement last cup, and it stands true today. The more I think about it, I am an enthusiast with a casuals amount of time, and so I genuinely only get to play video games here and there for minutes, not hours. And by minutes, I don't mean 3 or 4. I mean 20 to 30. That's pretty much it. My kid's asleep right now, and so I choose to lay on the couch, play Donkey Kong Land for half an hour before I make this cup. Right, stuff like that. This is the hybrid between enthusiast and casual, but really casual is someone who, when the time allows, this is the hobby that they use to regenerate energy or just have some time to themselves. This is the casual. The casual may have 1, maybe 2 consoles. Maybe they use their work PC to also play video games on it, right? Here and there. They have some time on the weekends. They play that. The casual is someone who gaming is something that fits into their lifestyle, whereas the enthusiast, their lifestyle may be geared around their gaming hobby, not including work. Work is its own thing, but gaming is the thing they do as part of their everyday. Me as a casual gamer, I find myself trying to carve out moments. Sometimes it's predetermined, but a lot of times it's not predetermined most of the time. Sometimes I'm like, I'm going to play this game with you guys on this day. That's about as much as it gets. But, hey, I'm going to play after work for a few hours every day. That ain't happening, G. That ain't happening. Let's get a taste on this. Okay, a little muddy. Okay. A little vegetal. What do we got? Tasting notes. Peach cobbler. I don't know if I'd taste that as much. I don't think that the dose is probably the best. I'm going to have to try this again. It's just my recipe probably wasn't the right one. We'll have to try it again later. I would say that right now this is a 7 out of 10. I know how to make it a 9 out of 10. It's good though. Oh, as it cools down, actually, it gets a little bit better. That's tasty. Yeah. So let's get to the niche. Who's the niche gamer? And I think the niche gamer is one that certainly outnumbers, as time has gone on, absolutely outnumbers the enthusiast, but may not come as close to the casual, right? The niche gamer is someone who purchases an Xbox Series S to play Flight Simulator. I would say maybe another niche gamer might be someone who, I don't know, picks up the Oculus Quest to do fitness or Beat Saber or something. Like that's niche, hyper niche. Or rather, they decide that they're going to mouse and keyboard their Xbox, or they're taking a gaming PC and they put it on their 4K TV. Like these are niche things in the gaming space, and they're very cool. I mean, it's uncommon, right? By the greater scale of things, it's more common than the enthusiast, but the niche gamer, I think, is a very special one. Someone who decides that the only games that they want to play are one singular genre. That's absolutely it. That's it. They're only going to play games, arcade games from the 1990s, right? This kind of thing is so spectacular and so exciting and fun to learn about. And it's something that I definitely have glossed over the past, I don't know, I didn't even realize was such a big thing until I started to get some comments and oh yeah, I just only play Nintendo 64 games. That's all I do. And this kind of thing for me, I think is super powerful because I've realized that as time has gone on, I've participated in the gaming space as a content creator, but as an actual person who enjoys this thing, I find myself as a enthusiast with a casual amount of time, understanding that I myself am a niche gamer. And let me explain what I mean by that. If I could have it my way, I would just play Nintendo games. Honestly, just play retro Nintendo games on original hardware. Yes, the Switch is great, but if I had all the money in the world, I would go through and replay N64 games, replay Game Boy Advance, Game Boy games, replay on original hardware, or stuff like the Chromatic, where it makes the original gaming experience just kind of match 2024. That's really all the mod retro does. It takes a game that was created in the mid-90s, if not early 90s, and it makes it at least playable to a certain extent while maintaining the charm of the age, right? This is the same size, a little bit smaller than a Game Boy, but a little bit beefier than a Game Boy Color, but it's the same size, it's the same everything for the most part. Is it the most comfortable? Certainly not. No, a little bit bigger would be a little bit more comfortable because the Game Boy Color was made for kids, remember? And so our hands were a little bit smaller, and I do have to take my rings off when I'm playing it because that is metal. This thing is metal, so it does kind of, I feel like I'm going to scratch it. But I mean, I can't deny that turning this thing on and seeing the Donkey Kong Land 2 1995 and then just hearing... as a nostalgic gamer, that's my niche. I strive to experience games from so long ago. We have huge mega hits coming out right now over these past few years. We've had some big ones, certainly far less in quantity than we used to back when I was heavily involved in being able to participate in games as an enthusiast. But, for the dozen games that have hit the market over these past, Jedi Survivor, Baldur's Gate 3, these kind of games, these big, huge titles, these anticipated ones, and eventually Fable whatever version and stuff like that, those are great. But I could, and I will, to the best of my ability, because I have ADHD, I will strive to focus on what truly brings that joy. And that is the retro / Nintendo. Newer Nintendo stuff's fun too, but the retro style that exists with this hobby. And I think that niching and understanding the niche sense or the niche side of your gaming hobby is pretty special. I genuinely do. I think being self-aware is really good. And the awareness that I have in that for me over these past, however long, or learning it just these past few days has been really, really cool. It's kind of been like a mental, yeah, bud, it's totally cool to do this thing, right? As someone who played video games growing up, I don't know if you relate in this. If you do, awesome, let me know. But loneliness was a big deal. I found video games because social awkwardness was huge for me. I wasn't super happy as a kid, and so being able to play video games and experience stories and kind of just get lost in the story was very nice, pleasant, distracting at times. I never identified as the character. That's why single-player narrative games where you have to create your character with a character model and you name it and all this stuff, I never liked that because I didn't want to escape from the reality I was in and try to participate in a different reality, but rather I wanted to experience a story told and participated in. That's really what it was. Always loved Star Wars. I never wanted to be a Jedi. I always wanted to be able to be, whoever it was. Darth Vader, almost always. I didn't want to be a dark Jedi. I wanted to be Darth Vader, right? That is always how video games or stories has been. I don't want to live in Middle Earth. I want to be the character, right? And this is the way that I experience video games. And growing up, that loneliness that existed, I found my communities because back then video games were because internet wasn't as prevalent, you could actually find local people, right? People in real life that would play the same games as you. My best friends, we played Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. We'd go through Golden Sun together. Shout out Golden Sun gang. What up, Isaac? And we'd also go through, Fire Emblem was huge in my group. We really liked these stories. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, a memory I had, I'll never forget it. It was a 2-night sleepover at my buddy's house for his birthday. Huge pool party, the whole nine, dude. We were in high school or something. And he had a GameCube. We all had the Crystal Chronicles he had Crystal Chronicles. We all had Game Boy Advances and the plug. We played for 2 days straight. We beat the game. We played that game to death. It was exhilarating. Sure, we jumped in the pool during the daytime for a few minutes, but really we were entranced in this experience. 4 people connected to a machine, playing on a TV that was not on the stand. It was on the floor in his bedroom. It was crazy. We were able to play video games, not on a TV that was in a wall, but actually just unplugged. The nostalgia that exists in that game is so high. Haven't been able to experience the game since because I need 3 other people to have Crystal Chronicles, but still, that experience for me, I will never forget. Pizza, Dr. Pepper, non-stop drinking Dr. Pepper through sour punch straws, eating popcorn and sprinkling sugar on top. I mean, I was very fat, but still, I loved it. I adored this experience. And looking back, I realized that experience was heavily tied to the community that existed around that. And understanding that over these past few years of making content around video games, have been trying to find that feeling again, that community feeling, and realizing that the popular opinion has its community that is outspoken and it's very, very visible, and you don't have to look for it. But niche communities, Retro Nintendo, Donkey Kong fans, right? Game Boy fans. I mean, there's a whole company, Mod Retro. This dude loves Game Boy Color so much that he's just making it. He has some disposable income, so he can do so, but he's literally just making a Game Boy Color capable device with games that are coming out for this. I think they're up to 9 now that you can actually play on this, real manufactured games with boxes and manual, whole 9. That's awesome. It's so cool. And trying to fit into the Call of Duties, the Fortnites, the Elden Ring, Diablo, these communities that exist, as powerful as they may be, I'm realizing that I'm looking down at my recorder, still recording, knowing my niche, understanding my niche, and I'm not talking about content niche, I'm talking about video game niche, understanding the community I want to be a part of is cool. Someone wrote a comment that I finally feel seen. I'm not into Fortnite. I'm not into these games. I'm sitting back while everyone's playing these big games, playing Golden Sun for the 4th time. And that's freaking it, dude. I'm sitting here while everyone's going crazy on these new MMOs, on these new huge titles. They can't wait for Wolverine to come out. They just can't stop raving about Spider-Man 2. They love replaying the Halo, whatever it may be. And I'm sitting here playing a Game Boy game on a $200 metal Game Boy replica. And I am giggling and I'm jonesing for this more and more and more, because it is the absolute quintessential, most grounding experience and joy-filled experience that I am having currently at this time, because it is like, over these past few days, just letting go of the idea of, I just prefer the older way of gaming. I just prefer a specific experience, right? The Steam Deck itself grants me that experience because of the versatility that exists with it. I'm able to have that Game Boy-esque feeling with the Steam Deck. That's why the Steam Deck is such a powerful device, right? It's the experience that you have with it. I can play games that are very popular, or not popular, very, very polished, right? In a better form factor, right? I have Sea of Stars. I have a physical version of Sea of Stars, but I have decided to play it on the Steam Deck because I find the experience to be better on a Steam Deck than on a Nintendo Switch, right? Nintendo as a whole isn't the best experience. Well, let me phrase this. Nintendo as a whole doesn't get my pick when it comes to playing games just because they're Nintendo. Octopath Traveler, for instance. I was playing that on a Nintendo Switch. I got it for like $11 on Steam. So I got it on Steam, tried it on the Steam Deck. Immediately was like, oh, forget this, dude. I am just playing it on the Steam Deck. Better experience. Visuals, better. Frame rates, better. Consistency of performance, better. Screen size, better. Comfort, better. Everything just better. I'm not going to sit there and be like, I'm going to have the worst experience on the Switch because it's better. No. Like, it's there. Right? It's fully. But then you would ask, well, why are you playing Link's Awakening on original hardware when all of those would be better on the Switch? Because it's not. It genuinely feels better to play certain games in the original hardware. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's silliness, maybe it's my niche nature, but it is. I think experience really dictates a lot in allowing yourself to understand that you're a casual, and that means that you can just let go of what the enthusiasts may be saying, the pressures that exist publicly because the enthusiast is loudest, right? The internet is built by enthusiasts. It's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but just know where you're at as a casual. I'm not really speaking to you. I'm speaking to me. Because I didn't realize this till 72 freaking hours ago. And I can tell you that thousands of dollars were wasted in trying to listen to the enthusiast, when in reality, as a casual, hell, even a niche gamer, I have been chasing a dragon that has not existed. It's like I'm looking for Dragon Balls. I'm looking for the Namekian dragon, but only getting Dragon Balls from Earth. I'm not going to find the Namekian dragon. I would have to go to Namek to actually get the Dragon Balls on Namek to summon that dragon. But no, I'm on Earth. And being on Earth, I should understand that Earth functions differently. The dragon's different. You get one wish originally. It gets convoluted, and don't ask me to explain the plot because I'm new to it and I've only just read it once. But what I'm getting at is, be okay with what you have if it's what you love. Truly. JD. Okay. Cheers to all of you. This coffee is good, and I can't wait to dial it in. Let's see. What do they say it is? Oh, that's better cooled off. They say it's a light. It's a Honduras. Okay. It's washed, which I prefer to natural, so good stuff. If you want to join me live on Twitch, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, I play for only 3 hours. 3 hours. That is it. But I do play for all 3 hours. Well, I hang out for all 3 hours. I may not be playing. This week's schedule will always be posted at the beginning of the week, so you can see that. And for 1 week right now, the Discord link will be active in the description below. After that, if you miss it, it's fine. Just join into a live stream and you hit !Discord, and that link is always live. I think you can even go on there and ask for it, without me being live. You just have to go in the chat. I don't know how that works because Twitch is weird. Please, if you're into this kind of thing and you resonate, there are people in the Twitch chat every evening that also resonate with you. Okay. See ya. And play more. Be kind.